Hello, everybody! Welcome back to the Colorado Rockies Rebuild franchise here on MLB The Show 24. We're getting into the offseason today, and I gotta say, I'm super excited for this episode. I've been waiting for this all season. Finally, we'll get a chance to kind of put our own touch on this baseball team and improve so we can kind of maybe compete next year. Still maybe a ways away, as we did finish 69 and 93. However, hopefully we can improve this team in free agency. We have a lot of plans. We'll start here at starting pitcher, and I think Cal Quantrill, he's going to be one of the only two guys that we bring back to be part of this rotation. The Ks per nine vary down, but he's a very good pitch to contact type guy, limits walks, limits home runs, and very good with runners on base with that 80 clutch rating. He started off very well. His ERA, I think, was even sub 2.5 for his first 10 starts or so, but he kind of fell apart as we went on. But he did have some good starts, 9 and 15, 185 innings, and he was our best pitcher, and that just kind of goes to show what we were working with. Dakota Hudson, I don't think he's going to be back. Only gave us 159 innings in 30 starts. 30 years old, only see potential. I don't know how much more he has to offer. German Marquez, though, he's probably the biggest question mark, although I haven't seen these major aggressions until now. -5 hits per 9, -7 home runs per 9. He returned around the All-Star break from injury, went 4-6 in 14 starts, an ERA almost at 6, a whip over 1.5. So we do have him for one more season at 10.8, and I think I would like to trade him, but I don't know how realistic it is for a team. I mean, I guess $10 million isn't too much money for some teams, so maybe if there's a team out there who needs a low-end rotation guy, maybe we'll kind of see if we could ship him off in a deal. Peter Lambert was solid, 11 starts, mostly out of the bullpen. He worked this year. He was solid, very good progression at +2 along the board. So he's someone we'll probably bring back, probably more so in a long relief role, as he was mostly in last season. Kyle Freeland, he's signed for another 3 years, and it's on a backloaded contract. So in his age 33 season, he'll be making 15.5, and there are a good bit of bad contracts on this Rockies team, which is going to limit things for us and limit our flexibility in free agency. 17 quality starts, though, so more than half his starts were considered good. 2 complete games, 2 shutouts. The first of his career, he had those both post-All-Star break, so a strong finish to the year, although he does finish with a negative WAR. -4 regression in home runs per 9, but everything else going up a point or 2. Austin Gomer, I don't think he's going to be back, a deep potential, and he just was not good. He started 25 games before being relegated to the bullpen, and he doesn't really offer much. The hits per 9 very, very low, along with the home runs per 9. Clutch as well, so he's not even good when runners are on base. So I don't think Gomer is going to be back. That'll bring us to Antonio Senzatella. The hits per 9 at 38 and the Ks per 9 at 32. Abysmal, although the walks per 9 and home runs per 9 pretty good. He spent the entire year in AAA as he's injured in real life, present day, so we kind of just stuck with that. And he signed for another 3 seasons at $10 million, so that's another contract we're going to have to try and maneuver around. Chase Dollander was a September call-up, our top pitching prospect, although we have, we'll get a look at our draft picks in this past draft here soon. But Dollander entering this past season was our top pitching prospect, a potential, and he had 3 quality starts out of 5. We our last live game of the season against the Dodgers, if you go back a couple episodes, he only lasted about 3 1/3, I think. So I mean, the Dodgers were like the best team during the regular season, so we can't fault him too much. And then Ryan Feltner here, he was not that good. Started 11 games. He was another guy relegated to the bullpen, only 66. So maybe we'll bring him back and maybe start him off in AAA or make him earn a roster spot. Still 3 or 4 years of arbitration, so we do have a lot of team control on him, but like the whip at 1.7, the ERA at 6.32, not too great. The bullpen, we won't really talk about too many of these guys. We're going to try and totally revamp the bullpen. We might just stick with Justin Lawrence as our closer just because he was really good, converting 17 out of 18, but obviously not a top-of-the-end closer and by any means at just 73 overall. Taj Bradley, we acquired him in the trade where we sent Charlie Blackmon and Elias Diaz to the Rays at the deadline. And he was a September call-up. We just kept him in AAA as he was with the Rays. And he gave us 4 1/3 of scoreless baseball, only allowed 1 base runner. But his potential, it does go down from an A to a B. I'm not sure why. The home runs per 9 very low. That's really only his major weakness at this point, but very good stuff. We like what he can bring out of the bullpen, and we're not sure if we'll throw him in a long relief role with the 69 stamina or what. Obviously, being a former starting pitcher. So here's Ronald Cabrera, the first draft pick we'll look at that we brought in. He was our 6th round pick, so we didn't invest too much in him, but he does come at a 79 overall, and he's actually the highest rated catcher on our entire roster. He's already an adequate fielder, a strong arm, very good vision, and very good contact ratings as a switching catcher. If he had a little more power, that'd be nice, but I'm not really sure what's going to happen with Cabrera. I don't think we'll throw him on the 40-man roster quite yet, so he'll certainly open in the minors, but really like that contact and the fielding not bad at all. So I don't know, it depends. He's only a deep potential, so he might just regress completely. Some of those prospects do. But like I said, he was a 6th round pick, our last pick, and you certainly like that turnout. He's already pretty much MLB ready, although, like I said, the regression might occur. At catcher, Jason DeLay and Drew Romo split time. We started with Elias Diaz and Jacob Stallings, but Diaz, as we said, was traded, and Stallings, we kind of just designated him for assignment. So Romo was called up a little sooner than we wanted. He didn't do too great at the plate, especially towards the end of the season, but someone who's still going to compete for a roster spot, a platoon role. Same here with Jason DeLay. We claimed him off waivers during the season against Pittsburgh. Started off very well. He was batting like over 350 at one point in his first 50 at-bats or so, but cooled off. First base, Elihuris Montero led our team in home runs and ribbies, and I think slugging as well. He'll certainly be back in the lineup, and look at contact. He gets +9 against lefties, +4 against righties, along with +5 power versus righties as well. So a very good year from him. His vision's going up. Vision and discipline. I think I just repeated saying vision. Not the best in the field, but we'll probably throw him out there. Brendan Rodgers, tremendous progression across the board, +14 against contact versus lefties, and he batted over 300, was by far our best hitter, and we're going to try and lock him up long-term this offseason. Ryan McMahon, the power drops very, very low, -7 against power, and then only 42 power versus lefties. So he's someone else who's signed for the next 3 seasons on a backloaded deal. So we're going to have to work with what we have. And I think going into next season, we'll try and find a replacement and have a third baseman who can play against who can play against lefties, because McMahon at the plate, super one-dimensional, really only succeeds against right-handed pitching. Ezequiel Tovar was productive in his sophomore campaign. He's signed for the next 5 or 6 seasons. So he's our long-term shortstop, someone we think can be a future all-star. He gets the +10 against lefties, +5 power versus righties, +3 power versus lefties. So already an elite fielder, a potential gold glover down the line, maybe even next season. But anything he brings at the plate is just kind of an added bonus. And he had some very good games hitting the baseball. And at left field, we have Sean Bouchard, who's a good slugger, not the best fielder, although adequate. Even for being a slugger, I mean, he's a lifetime 42 slugging percentage and just over 300 at-bats, but still each power category at 57. So we're kind of hoping he can be like platoon guy, a corner outfield, corner infield type guy who can provide some power off the bench, but the numbers just really aren't there, although the production has 10 home runs and 201 at-bats. So we'll take that, especially considering what we were dealing with already. Raimel Tapia we brought back last season during free agency. Or I'm sorry, not during free agency, during the season in free agency. 5 home runs and 262 at-bats. He came on very strong, like DeLay. He was another guy hitting over 300 for most of his tenure this past season, although he did get hurt, missed the last few months, and ended with decent production, but he's someone we're going to have to make a decision on here. We signed him to a $2.4 million team deal, so we have the option, and that's going to be our first order of business when we get into the offseason here, just after we go over these last couple positions. Yanquiel Fernandez was our second-rated prospect, our top position player, and we were kind of forced to call him up earlier than we wanted, just because we had so many injuries in the outfield. As we said, Tapia was hurt, and another guy, I think Greg Jones, was hurt. The hitting category is not really where we want them, although he saw good progression, +4 contact righties, and then +8 power versus lefties. He slugged really well, 451 in just under 100 at-bats, 4 homers, 10 RBIs, OPS over 750. So just based on his production when he was called up, we're going to give him a chance to earn a roster spot. But it leaves me in a predicament. Do we take the option here on Raimel Tapia, Or do we kind of give more leeway here for Fernandez, another left-handed left fielder? I don't really want to keep two left-handed left fielders on the lineup or on the roster, but we'll see. I think we are going to end up picking up the option for Tapia, and we'll just see what happens. Brenton Doyle, definitely a long-term type guy at center field for us. The batting numbers were improved, 231 from a 203 the year prior. OBP up 23 points and the slugging up 16 points. So an elite fielder, elite speed. I mean, look at that, 99 across the board in fielding arm strength, arm accuracy, although the reaction at 74. 97 speed, and anything he brings with the bat is just a bonus. And his contact versus righties up +9. So I think over the years, his bat will kind of come around a little bit. We really just need him to make contact, put the ball in play, and he can make things happen with his speed. Vision at 29 needs a lot of work. And then that brings us to right field finally, and then we'll get into the signing some players. Nolan Jones, he had a down year at the plate based on the year prior, but still one of our cornerstone players here in this franchise, and we're going to sign him long-term soon, although he does have a few years of arbitration remaining. The contact each go up a good bit, but the power versus lefties down 2. And then Chris Bryant, this is the worst contract maybe in all of baseball. We have him for 3 more years at $26 million, and then we can opt out. He's already 33, although, I mean, contact versus lefties up +10, but we see some regression, power versus lefties, vision, and discipline. He, I think, was tied for the team lead in RBIs, very up and down offensive season for him, and he's another guy we kind of just have to ride it out with. We do like the clutch there at 75, although he offers nothing in the field except versatility, but we really don't want him out there at 49 fielding. So really someone who's just a strict DH maybe at this point, but it kind of hurts because he's not the type of DH you want, with contact at just over 60 and power versus righties, power versus lefties 55, 60 respectively. So I just wanted to do a quick recap of our roster just to kind of set the tone for what we're going to be doing here in the free agency. And yes, we will just exercise this $2.4 million deal on Tapia. And now we'll go over to staff before we get into free agency, just because we have to handle this as well. We're going to leave Bud Black. We'll probably just leave him as our manager for the last 2 years of his contract. Just let him ride it out, kind of be a bridge guy. And then probably after these next 2 seasons, we'll hopefully be, legitimate contenders here in the NL West. And then we can kind of get our guy. Kind of a bad way to treat him, but I know we'll stick with him for now. It is bad, -2 contact and -3 power. That is a pretty big hits. Sky Brown, I mean, he gives us 3 negatives. I don't even know why a coach would be in the game if they're giving you this. He's only bringing +1 power, but at what cost? And our pitching coach, we're definitely going to just go ahead and fire him. It would be nice to just fire everybody. We don't have any good coaching staff members here, but I'll just kind of keep it somewhat realistic. We're just going to keep it to 2 coaches this offseason that we can fire, and pitching coach definitely has to be one. Our pitching staff, I mean, talent-wise, was not good at all, but, I mean, it was just the worst in the league. We need to get better. A few intriguing options here, but I typically like to go with guys who don't really give you any negative attributes. So, Thomas Saul here, +1 control, pitching clutch, walks per 9, then +2 for velocity. Anthony Cisneros, +1 across the board. AJ Hinch would actually be pretty cool. It gives you the +3 Ks per 9, +1 stamina, +2 velocity. Although I really don't like the -1 hits per 9, but I think that's something we could probably look past. Jesus Cordova, +3 Ks per 9, +2 hits per 9, +1 clutch, and -1 break. So I think actually Cordova is going to be the guy we try and go for. Yeah, I really like what he brings to the table. We're going to give him a 4-year, and we'll just bump it up to 7.2. I actually really like what he brings to the table with the strikeouts and the hits per 9. Then you get the +1 for clutch and the -1 break. We're not too sad about that. So that leaves us with one more spot. We can either fire here Ron Gideon or fire Whitney Dillon. Gideon gives you -2 blocking, -2 stealing and speed, although just +1 for fielding. And Dillon -1 reaction, -3 blocking, although +1 fielding, +1 durability. I think we'll go ahead and fire Ron Gideon and try and get a new first base coach. And here, Leonard Kino, really like the play. He brings +3 durability, speed, +2 reaction, but The -3 arm accuracy is kind of a big hit. Maybe at -2 it wouldn't matter as much, but I think -3 is pretty big. Alexis Aparicio, +2 reaction speed, +3 durability, but the -2 arm accuracy. And Bruce Cox, I like what he brings with the stealing and speed, but not the -3 durability. We kind of had injury issues already as it is. Andres Novoa, I think he might be the guy. And then here's Anthony Madrid, +2 durability and speed. I think Novia is probably going to be the guy we go for. Carlos Feebles, he has no negatives, nor does Chris Daniels. All right, let's compare Daniels and Febles here. +2 speed. I probably would go Febles instead. And then Novoa. He gets +2 speed, +1 fielding, blocking and stealing. We're going to go with Novoa. Just give him a 3-year, go to like $4 million. So, like I said, traditionally maybe you would just fire everybody just because they kind of none of these coaches are really good. They don't really bring much to the table. If not, they just hurt you more. Like Sky Brown would be great to fire, but like I said, I kind of want to just keep it at 2 coaches for now. Don't really want to do a complete overhaul. Keep it a little more realistic for now. And then next year we'll give ourselves another 2 that we can kind of fire. So now we'll sim ahead as we do get Novoa as our first base coach. And we do get Cordova as our pitching coach. So 2 upgrades there on the coaching staff to kick things off. Today's the last day. We actually have no exclusive free agent negotiations. We just had that Tapia option we had to deal with. So after this, we're now into free agency. And now we're officially into free agency. And let's get an initial look here at the free agent pool. So Juan Soto leads the way here. Of course, the Yankees offered him a qualifying offer, so you would have to give up compensation if you want Soto. I believe they all kick things off with a 6-year, $133 million deal. Super low ball. You know, Judge is making way more than that, and I would think Soto would want to make similar, if not more money. The Marlins, look at that interest bar from Tanner Scott. No interest in a 5-year, $50 million deal. He probably just wants to get out of there. Here's Pete Alonso, maybe someone we might think about. But I don't know. Like I said, having Chris Bryant just really complicates things for us because, you know, that's a spot, and he's like a similar mold here to, not a similar mold, but he plays, you know, Bryant, DH, first base, kind of what Alonso would vacate as well. Corbin Burnes, the top starting pitcher. And I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but we're going to try and get 2 top-end starting pitchers into Colorado. Gleyber Torres, Teoscar Fernandez, Willie Adames, an intriguing shortstop, although we already have our guy. Max Fried, maybe someone we target. We want to get a lefty. He's coming off a very strong season with the Braves. He's been very good over the past 4 or 5 seasons or so. I can't believe he's already 31. So they're giving him a 5-year, 55. We would certainly go maybe like 5 years for 60. Although I don't know if I want him for 5 years. Maybe give him 4 years with a player option. I really don't like to get players past their age 35 season or so. Bregman, Clay Holmes, Shane Bieber, 84 overall, a potential. And he's only getting a 3-year 55. I guess that's pretty reasonable considering all things considered here for Bieber. And he does get a qualifying offer as well there from Cleveland. Santander, Paul Goldschmidt, although he's regressing. And we really wanted a catcher, but it looks like Danny Jansen's the top catcher on the market. It's just under 250, OPS at 743, the lowest he's posted in about 3 or 4 years. And the offensive production, not really there. A decent fielder, really nothing too special in the field. Brings very good power, though, although the production just wasn't there. But he may be someone we target to be a little stopgap catcher for us. It would probably cost around $10 million a year. I think that's something we could probably afford. Paul Sewald, we definitely need to strengthen the bullpen. And we're not going to scroll down too much further. We'll kind of go position by position at this point. So we'll just go over to starting pitchers. And Corbin Burnes, the top pitcher on the market, as we said. And he's getting a 6-year, $89.4 million offer to return to Baltimore. Someone we definitely might pursue here. He wants, what is that, about like 18 or so per year. Max Fried, we, like I said, would really like to bring in a left-handed starting pitcher. The Braves offered him 11. We'd probably have to offer around like 15 or so. So maybe we go for both Burnes and Fried. I'm not sure. Shane Bieber would be very good as well, but with the qualifying offer made by Cleveland, we'd have to, I believe, sacrifice our second round pick, and I'm not really trying to do that. John Means from Baltimore, asking for about $8 million. So Walker Buehler, 13-9 last year, made 31 starts, exactly 200 innings. Very good showing, 19 quality starts, 3.42 ERA, a 1.18 WHIP. Kind of surprised LA's not offering to bring him back. He only wants about like $7 million per year. Although I guess I don't know how much more money they have at this moment. It seems like they do have endless cash there. Jack Flaherty, an interesting option here, an A potential. You really don't see any A potentials this deep at a 77 overall, 29 years old. He was 5-11. Not the best year with the Tigers, although a very bad team. He did have 16 quality starts. I really like that 5-pitch mix. Very good progression across the board. +5 Ks per 9, +6 home runs per 9. And with that A potential, I think he's someone we might make a run at. He wants like $10 million a year. I wouldn't mind giving him like a $3 or 4 year deal at $10 million, especially with the A potential. I think down the road that could really be a good deal for us. So a few options here. I think Flaherty is someone we're definitely going to offer. Maybe Buehler, maybe John Means. I would really like Fried to get the lefty in here. It's really going to come down to what he wants. But I think Corbin Burnes as well. We're going to have to up the offer. I mean, Baltimore, what is 89? What was that? 89.4. So it's 89.4 per year. That's even less than I thought. About 15. So I wouldn't mind offering Burnes even like 18 million over like a 5-year deal. That's something we're definitely gonna consider. Relief pitchers Jeff Hoffman would be a nice addition. A very good year there with the Phillies. Sean Armstrong, 34 years old. So wow, very good back-to-back seasons here with the Rays. Is it Matan or Phil Maton? A .56 ERA, a .19 WHIP. Oh my goodness. Although in just 16 innings, Tampa Bay is offering both of these guys just over $10 million combined. Jorge Lopez from the Mets had a decent season. Hector Neris from the world champion Chicago Cubs, although he had an awful regular season, 5.64 ERA. Chris Martin now 38. AJ Minter, well, yeah, we definitely need to add a lefty to the bullpen. And I've always really liked AJ Minter, just always solid for Atlanta, especially over this last five years. Only one bad season, in 7 years there in Atlanta. Lucas Sims is very intriguing, a 98 rating at hits per 9, the Ks per 9 at 80. The walks per 9, though, very bad, although he did get +3, but still only at 38. Home runs per 9 over 70, and the clutch at 89, and he has electric stuff, 79 control, 99 break. Really like Sims, and not too expensive at just 2.4, so he's maybe someone we'll take a look at. Scott Barlow, a good season there in Cleveland, 80 innings, so he was kind of the workhorse out of the bullpen for them. Caleb Ferguson, a good debut season with the Yankees. They're offering him 5.4. So I think, like I said, we need a lefty, and it probably comes down to Ferguson here or AJ Minter. Minter demanding about 7. Ferguson demanding, we'll probably have to give him like 6. So we might just go with Ferguson, especially because he's a little bit younger than Minter. Jonathan Loáisiga, another Yankee free agent. Scott Alexander. He's not regressing at 35 years old, which is kind of a good sign. Low Ks per 9, though. Very good season there with the Athletics. Wow, 1.79 ERA, 101 WHIP. One of the bright spots for them. Andrew Chafin. Love Andrew Chafin. I'm not sure if we're going to bring him in, though. Regressing now at 34 years old. Caleb Thielbar. Wow, he's already 38. So some decent options here as far as relief pitchers go. A couple older guys. That Miguel Castro. Oof, never mind. 6.98 ERA, a 2.33 WHIP. My goodness. He has very good stuff, but he just really can't find the command. What about closers now? We have Tanner Scott, who we saw, and he wants no part of going back to Miami, a five-year, $50 million deal. And yeah, he's demanding 16.6, so Miami certainly lowballing him, and I don't think he wants to go back to the Marlins anyway. Another Yankee reliever here on the market, their closer, Clay Holmes, Jose Leclerc, and Paul Sewald. I do like him, but I think he's kind of offering a lot. He wants over $8 million, and like I said earlier, we're not kind of in a position where we want to be throwing all this money at relievers, so we're going to try and find some team-friendly deals here as far as relief pitchers are concerned. Carlos Estevez, former Rocky. And wow, he only pitched 9 2/3. He was traded from the Angels, it says. I wish they kept like a track record of these players, like when they were called up to the big leagues, what team they were drafted by, who they were traded for, what team they were traded from. Like I wish we saw that. It's kind of cool they added an awards tab here, but I wish they had like a player, roadmap, player history. So Estevez has very good ratings. The walks, clutch, and control weaknesses, but otherwise, at least above average in pretty much every other category. Got his start with the Rockies, pitched 6 years in Colorado, so he's someone I could see returning. He was very strong for them, and then blew up last year. Was a closer. Closer for the Angels and also an All-Star. But I think Estevez is definitely someone we'll take a look at. And now we're going to get into the position players. I mentioned Danny Jansen as a possible target to be our catcher for the next few seasons, and I think he's going to get a guy we're definitely going to take a run at. Next best here is Gary Sanchez, and you want him to be a masher for you, and he was kind of just in a reserve role there with the Brewers, but still barely slugged over 400. And I don't know how he's a better rated fielder. He has 74 fielding compared to Jansen's 70. Strong arm, though, of course, at 87. But I think Jansen's a guy we're going to go at. Still a B potential, 29 years old. He's still progressing, and I think he has a little more development to go as a player. I love the power he provides, and I think in Colorado, he can be a 20, 25 home run type guy over his tenure. First base, really not much here. Of course, Ji-Man Choi. I always like Choi. Looks like he didn't play in the bigs last year, but only a D potential. Pete Alonso, though, I mentioned him earlier, and the more I think about it, the more, even though Chris Bryant's making like $26 million a year, I wouldn't mind just giving him a spot on the bench and just having him as like a pinch hitter, and that would kind of open up a hole in the lineup for Pete Alonso. Power kind of down, slugged sub 500, only 33 home runs, although the doubles were up. And he's just a masher. I think if you brought him to Colorado, he's like a typical 35, 40 home run guy with upwards of 50 home run potential. The power versus lefties was down -7, but everything else, especially hitting, was very good. He got a contact boost, +5 against lefties, and vision discipline up +6. So the clutch, not great for a power hitter like Alonso at 57, but still, he makes up for it in other ways. So I think Alonso, initially, not someone I thought we would take a run at, but the more I think about it, the more I think it makes sense. Probably have to offer him close to $15 million a year. Second base, our infield is pretty much shored up. We have Rogers, who we're going to try and sign long-term here in a few moments. We have Tovar at short and third base McMahon, although we're going to try and get someone to platoon with him to insert into the lineup against lefties. I actually do like Ahmad Rosario here as a utility man. Great contact, especially against lefties. You love that 84. I wish he was better in the field, though. The 55 fielding really hurts, but that's where we'll put our training focus on Rosario and hopefully get him up into the 60s if we do sign him. Love the 88 speed. I think I said last episode we needed to get some more speed on this team, and Rosario, with all the position flexibility, I think he's someone who makes a lot of sense. So I think we'll maybe take a run at him. Some other good reserve options here in Adam Frazier, Enrique Hernandez. But Hernandez really struggled at the plate. The slugging sub 300, and you just can't be having that. Maybe if you were elite in the field, it's one thing, but at only 63 fielding, someone I wouldn't want to bring in after that season. I do like Alex Bregman. I think he would make a lot of sense for this team. We kind of need that leadership type guy, but he's regressing, -6 in power versus lefties, and regressing in many other categories now at 31. He may have hit his peak, and the Astros trying to bring him back on a 5-year deal, and we'll just let them do the other thing with him. J.D. Davis, someone I would maybe consider to bring in as that guy to supplement McMahon against lefties, but I don't know if he wants a reserve role at this point. What's he demanding? He's demanding just under 6, and it says he does want a platoon role, so maybe we'll look at him. I don't know if we could bring on both he and Rosario. I'm not sure how much room we have on the bench. Going to have to go back and look at that. Willy Adames, he wants not even $10 million a year. He wants about like $7-8 million a year. If we didn't have a shortstop, he's definitely someone we'd make a run at. Honestly, kind of similar to Tovar. Very similar in the field, just a little more advanced at the plate right now. But long term, I actually probably think Tovar is going to be the better player. Garrett Hampson, maybe we bring him back to Colorado after he spent a season with the Royals. And he actually wouldn't want too much money either. And he is faster than Rosario, so maybe we go for Hampson instead of Rosario. He is better in the field as well. That's what I'm going to have to think about. Hampson against Rosario. Rosario is just 1 year younger, so maybe we bring back Estevez and Hampson here for the Rockies. Paul DeJong, he had an awful season there in Chicago. And look at his batting average the past 4 years. 197, 157, 207, and then 203. He's really just fallen apart here after that 30 home run season back in 2019, although the average was really never there for him. Tim Anderson, he didn't really have a bounce back year in Miami. Although, I mean, he had 273, slugged just under 400. Not a bad season. Not getting any interest right now, but I'm sure he'll get scooped up somewhere. Left field. And I think we do want to bring in a left fielder to insert into the starting lineup. Then we'll have like Tapia as a bench player. And I think we will just actually start Yanquiel Fernandez out in AAA, at least just for this next season. Maybe he wins a backup role in spring training, but we're not going to commit to him as a starter quite yet. Hernandez is really good, but just more so against lefties. And he had a great season there in LA, missed the last month or so, but still over 30 home runs and is slugging at 565. JD Martinez, huge regression, although, 47 home runs, that's the most he's had. That's actually a career high for JD Martinez. 47 home runs with the Mets, and he's now at 362 on his career. I'm sure he'll land somewhere as a DH, but the regression is just monumental right now. -6 in most categories at least. I do like Tyler O'Neill. I wish he was a little bit more advanced as a hitter, but I like the fielding, the arm, very strong there in left. Probably more of a right fielder, I would think. I don't know. I just associate strong arms with right field for some reason. Maybe that's old school baseball, or maybe I don't know what I'm onto with that one. Alex Verdugo I like, but just doesn't bring the power. Again, very good in the field, a very strong arm, great discipline, good clutch. Didn't really play too well. The slugging, a career low with him in New York. He thought he might take advantage of that short porch there and right, but maybe someone we consider. I don't really know between Verdugo and O'Neill. I don't know if I'd really go for Hernandez, just a little bit older. And I think O'Neill and Verdugo, both 28, 29 at age. I think they have a little more upside. But we'll see what else we have here in the outfield. Harrison Bader, not really that good of a season with the Mets. We need more of a corner outfield guy anyway. And there's just really nothing here for outfielders. It drops real quick. Of course, Juan Soto, but we're not going to make a run at Soto. He's going to cost way too much, and we're not at a stage where we want to take on a superstar like that. Then there's Anthony Santander, and look at that contact versus lefties, +12, +5 contact versus righties, the power, a little aggression. Otherwise, he's seeing decent progression along the board. 25 home run season. He's hit at least 25 in the last 3 seasons, and he's slugged over 450, over 430 the last 6 years. I actually really like Santander as a switch hitter, provides some power. 286 hitter last year, over 350 OBP. So I think we're going to actually end up offering him. So right now it seems like Danny Jansen, Santander. I got the ice cream truck going in the background, so apologies if you catch that music, although it does get me going. I might have to get up and start dancing a little bit here soon. I really like Santander. So Santander, Jansen, probably Pete Alonso, a few guys we're going to probably offer here soon. Max Kepler, he's regressing. And we kind of have a couple lefties already in the outfield. That's why I really like the versatility Santander brings, being a switch hitter. I actually don't even think we have any switch hitters in the lineup. Jankowski, Hunter Dozier, each 33 years old. Ben Gamel, I liked him. He had a good run, I think, with the Yankees, right? Back in 2021. So that's really the free agent market. And I guess before we go into that, we'll look at our draft picks as we finally have access to that. Our first pick in the series, number 3 overall, was starting pitcher Michael Yamashita. His top trait is walks per 9. That's already pro ready. We're going to need the hits and the Ks per 9 to go up about 20 or so before we get him up into the big league. So Yamashita probably 3, maybe even 4 years away from cracking the rotation, but he does have 88 potential, and the clutch needs to go up, the control as well. But his break, almost elite already, and the velocity is going to get up there as well. No quirks, unfortunately. And then there was Juan Ayala. He was our compensatory pick in the first round. I think like 36th overall or something like that. And very good stamina at 86. And he, like Yamashita, they each have 88 potential, although Yamashita is 64, Ayala is 65 overall. So Ayala, 89 velocity, 80 break, very elite stuff overall. And the per 9 category is not too bad. He's going to allow a lot of hits, and we need the control to get better as well. So kind of like Yamashita, maybe 3 years away or so. And then we drafted, I think, 3 more pitchers. There was Herb Lopez next, and he's a southpaw. Elite stuff, 83 velocity, 84 break. The control, not too bad at 50, but you want to get that up at least 10 more points or so. I like the clutch at 61. I think that was the best out of all the pitchers we selected. The hits per 9 and walks per 9 are going to need to come up. So he does allow a lot of base runners, but at least he kind of counters that with a good clutch rating. A 5-pitch mix, and I love that he offers a splitter. And then this was a 3rd round pick. The 4th pitcher we selected, another lefty, Alfonso Campaneris. He might just be more of a long relief type guy, 73 stamina, and that's going to drop. That's a trait that usually doesn't get better. It's usually one that drops. And let me know, guys, what do you think as far as starters go? What's the minimum stamina you look for in a starting pitcher? I think anything below, I usually at least 70, but I can kind of deal with a 65, 66. But after that, I kind of don't want my guy, the guy in the rotation, if he can't last, more than 5 innings. Hits per 9 very low at 31. Otherwise, pretty solid across the board, just not the highest ceiling. And then who else we got? Jose Vera. He was someone who wasn't even ranked on the MLB board. We scouted him, and he ended up being like 30th on our board. Very good walks per 9 at 60. Otherwise, a very raw prospect, 19 years old, and it might take him, up until he's 24, 25 years old until he makes the big leagues. But 6'4", 225, very good size, and he's someone who's going to bring some good command out there on the bump. A little more raw, though. Rudy Smith, very raw, but he cracked in at a 98 potential, and he was our 5th round pick, so tremendous value that late in the draft. But like I said, very raw, only a 56 overall. It's going to take him probably 5-6 years, so he'd probably be like 26, 27 years old before he cracks the big leagues. But we love the potential, and of all our draft picks, he has the highest ceiling, but he has the longest way to go. And we already talked about our catcher, Ronald Cabrera here, our highest overall of any prospect, but he was our only D potential. Everyone else, A to C. And now before we start offering some free agents, I want to get our arbitration out of the way, and we have a ton of guys up for arbitration. We had no exclusive negotiations, but when it comes to arbitration, we're absolutely loaded. And we'll start here with Cal Quantrill. He's demanding 6.7 a year, so I'll kind of offer his arbitration at 6.4. And assuming we're able to lock up guys, like Flaherty, hopefully Corbin Burnes, Quantrill, I don't know how much longer he's going to be in the rotation with an influx of new starters. Dakota Hudson, we're not going to bring back. We're going to try and get some upgrades there. Peter Lambert, probably our long relief guy this season. He wants about $2 million. We'll bump him up to 1.85. Austin Gomer, along with Hudson here, we're just going to let him walk. I do like that Feltner has C potential, and he saw some decent regression despite his worst season on the mound thus far. I do kind of want to bring him back. I don't think he's guaranteed a role in the rotation, on the pitching staff. He definitely wouldn't be in our rotation. He would be more of a relief pitcher for us, long relief guy, but we'll give him a depth role, and we'll offer him like $930 as someone who might be a call-up at some point. Ty Black, 34 years old, 62 overall. We're not going to worry about him. And definitely want to bring back John Curtis. He was called up after the first month or so, and he gave us 64 straw innings, a 3.2 ERA, 1.28 whip, and a .4 WAR. And you respect that out of the bullpen. 3-0 record with 12 holds. And what's he demanding? He wants just over $1 million. And he's 32, so maybe we'll have him for a couple more years. And we'll just give him $1 million even in arbitration and see how that goes. Lucas Gilbreth, he was kind of our workhorse as far as lefties were concerned. We didn't have any lefties really in the pen. We relegated Austin Gomer later on, but otherwise Gilbreth was our primary lefty, the Colorado native, and we definitely want to bring him back. But we do want to get a better left-handed arm in the bullpen. We're going to look at AJ Minter or Caleb Ferguson, but for now, Gilbreth will definitely secure a spot, we would think. And then that brings us down to Jake Bird, and Bird was phenomenal as our setup man. 28 holds in 33 innings, also chipped in with 2 saves. ERA at 2.45, but the whip at 103, just tremendous numbers. Didn't see that coming. The clutch is also only 41, but I don't know if he's going to be back next year. We wouldn't bring him back on a contract. But I don't know if he's going to actually be in the bullpen, just based on his deep potential and 66 overall. Someone who far exceeded expectations, but we'll bring him back and see if he can earn back a spot in the bullpen. And now that brings us to Justin Lawrence. He was our 3rd appointed closer of the year, and he was phenomenal. 17 out of 18 in save attempts, gave us just under 50 innings, and the 2.55 ERA, very good, although the whip at 1.48, not that great. And he was a negative WAR player despite all the save conversions. I think we'll just give him the closer's role to open the year. And just because of how successful he was last year, we'll give him 1.5, a little more than he's demanding. But yeah, I don't know if he's going to stick around. I don't know if he can really keep up that level of play. And now that I bring us to Brendan Rodgers, that's a little alliteration. He's only wants 4.2. Someone I kind of wanted to maybe sign to a long-term deal. And he only wants 8.2 over 5. And I think that's very respectable. I don't know if we should backload it to give him, because what they make per year. If he's an A potential, so he's going to progress maybe into the low 90s or so. And at that point, I think he would be expecting to make more than 8.2, and that's something in the past that I've seen can affect morale. So I think we might just give him a backloaded. I don't know. Should we even give him a long-term deal? Just stick it out. We'll see what happens in the free agent market, and then we'll revisit and see if we want to just bring him back on like a $5 million arbitration deal, or see if we have the flexibility to sign him long-term. So that's going to be it for arbitration. We're going to let Hudson walk. We'll let Gomer walk. Feltner. We didn't offer him arbitration. We just offered him a normal contract. Not sure why we did that. Now that's fixed. And we offered arbitration to Bird. So we're going to let a few players walk, and we'll come back and revisit Brendan Rodgers and see what our cap situation's like. Now we're here at tender contracts, and Nolan Jones, of course, we want to make him an offer. It's kind of silly. We could renew him at $760, but we have more integrity than that. We're not going to take advantage here. We'll give him a reasonable contract offer. 26 years old, and over 4 years. He only wants $3 million. Up your standards a little bit, Nolan. I think we'll sign him for 4 years. We'll give him the player option because obviously this is more of a team-friendly contract. So we'll give him the option to opt out at the end. And we'll actually backload this one for sure. So I think 4 years, $20 million is kind of fair. We'll give him 20.8 over 4. A star role player option. He only wants 3. We're giving him a little bit more than that. And that's only a 3-year deal, really. We expect him to opt out after the 4th, but at least that gives us a little more integrity to the game. We're not going to bring him back on a $740,000 contract. Bretton Doyle, what should we do with him? I think for now we'll just give him a 1-year deal and revisit to see how he performs. We'll up it. He only wants $760, but we'll give him over $1 million here. And he probably will be more of an everyday player for us, but his expectations only platoon, so we'll just leave it there for now. Sean Bouchard, he might contend for a platoon role. We'll give him a 1-year deal, and we'll just stick it here at $1 million. Now, Matt Cook, he was called up later in the year, and he gave us very strong 18 innings, 3.0 ERA, and a sub 1.0 whip. And what does he want? We'll just give him a bullpen role, unless he just totally implodes, and we'll give him 920. We'll give him a little bit extra. And I kind of already was premature with it. I kind of just went through most of the prospects and just gave them contracts like Sterling Thompson. I just gave him the standard minor league contract. But for guys like Yankel Fernandez here who spent some time in the big leagues, we're going to go through manually and just talk about these guys a little bit. So seeing how he was a little successful last year, I think we'll actually just renew it. We'll just give him $800, as he might spend some time in the minors, but he's at least going to contend for a spot out of the gate. Chase Dollander, he's kind of a big question mark. Just based on the ratings, I think he opens in AAA, although he was pretty decent for us in September call-ups. But again, probably going to open in AAA, so we'll just renew his contract. Like Fernandez, we'll give him $800, two of our top prospects. Taj Bradley, I'm not sure if he's going to be in the bullpen or not. He might open in AAA. I hate that his potential went down despite decent numbers. So we'll just renew his contract as well, and we'll give him $800. We're kind of just going to do that with our young prospect, like MLB roster fringe guys with some experience. We'll take care of them for now. Jason DeLay, I think he and Romo, we're just going to have them contend for the backup catcher's job, and then we're going to make a run at Danny Jansen. What does DeLay want? Okay, so we'll just renew him at pretty much what he's asking for, and we'll do the same exact thing with Drew Romo. And now Elias Montero, our leading home run hitter, and of course we're going to sign him back. We'll actually just give him a 3-year deal. He's only asking for $1.4 million over that span, and we'll make it a club option for that 3rd year. And we'll just go up to 6.6 for him. Yeah, he doesn't really have the highest ceiling at a C potential, so I think this is kind of fair. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm doing anything that kind of goes against. You can kind of tell how I come at these rebuilds. I want to keep it realistic. I don't want to do anything crazy. I'm not going to trade for Shohei Ohtani and trade for Garrett Cole and do all these crazy things. I want to keep it within the realm of possibility somewhat. Of course, some things in sports you kind of can't explain, but for the most part, I want to keep this pretty fair and do it the right way. So if I'm doing anything you think is out of the bounds of that, be sure to let me know, and I'll be happy to have a conversation with you about this, or I want to know other perspectives. So that's all I mean by that. And now we're not going to do any more tenders here. We're going to jump into free agency finally. Thank you for bearing with me. I know it's kind of a long process, and we're going to try and make some moves. It says we have about $80 million in available budget. So we got to keep that in mind. So with Corbin Burnes, we'll just keep it at a 5-year deal, and we'll give him a player option. And let's see what we'll actually go up to $18 million. So we'll bring this up to about $90 million overall. So 5-year, $90 million, and we actually do have a good jump there on Baltimore. So we'll see if that gets we can sustain that place in the bid for Burnes. Max Fried, I really would like to bring in, but he's offering demanding, even more than Corbin Burnes is. Maybe if he was like an A potential, I would be willing to do that, but I think he might be kind of topped out here at an 86 overall. You see the progression from last season, not the best, just +1 in a few categories. So I think we'll bypass Fried. John Means would be nice as a lefty, but he wants a little over $8 million. So I think Burnes and then Walker Buehler, I think we'll offer a 1-year deal to. Kind of weird, LA. Like I said, LA didn't want to bring him back, but 1 season removed from a very serious injury. So let's see. I think a 1-year deal for Buehler kind of makes sense, just on the basis that let's see if he could do it again. Returning from a major injury, had a very good season, but you want to see that he could do it long term before teams start investing long term into Buehler. And Jack Flaherty, I mentioned how much I really like him, a potential, and I think he's going to come along quite well. I love the 5-pitch mix, especially with the knuckle curve. I think a 4-year deal with a club option is fair. A 4-year club option at $40 million. I think that's a pretty fair deal, especially because he hasn't been the best the past 3 seasons. Had 2 very good years there in St. Louis, maybe even 3, but it's kind of been downward slope there. So is 4 years too much from him? I mean, considering he's A potential, I think that's pretty fair. So what are we at? We're at $64 million now in pending offers. And who did we want to get? Caleb Ferguson. With Yankees offering a 1-year contract. We'll do the same. Give him the bullpen role. Make it $6.2 million for Caleb Ferguson. And there was a couple more relievers I wanted to sign. A lot of options here. It's just kind of hard to choose. But Lucas Sims, I love the hits per 9 and Ks per 9. Very good clutch and tremendous break. Performs better when the team is behind. And what Cincinnati's offering 1 year at 2.4, I think we'll do 1 year 3.3. And being the Rockies, especially to pitchers, we're a team we kind of have to overpay for players, especially the state of our franchise right now. Tanner Scott would be nice, but like I said, we're not going to overdo it for relief pitchers at this point. Kind of just bring in some guys to keep our heads above water. Our bullpen was abysmal last season. Now, Carlos Estevez doesn't even have any offers, so we'll put him at 3.2, kind of like we did with Lucas Sims. I actually had Sims at 3.3, so we'll just match it. We don't want any discrepancies here. We'll just match it, keep Estevez happy. And now catchers. So now we're about 35 million remaining. And Jansen, what was it? Jansen, Alonso, and Santander. So I think we could probably make that work. And Jansen, he wants like 10 million per year. I'll probably just do 3 years at 30, no option. We'll just give, like I said, he's probably just our stopgap. I'll actually bump it up a little bit just to give us a little separation from the Blue Jays. So we add on another 2 million. That brings us to Pete Alonso. Now we're at 24 million remaining in available budget. And he wants 15. It definitely has to be a 3-year or 4. I think we'll do a 3-year with a player option. And we'll go to like 45. And that gives us some good leeway there over the Mets. And lastly, let's go to Santander. And we're like just going to make it here, it looks like. We have about 9 million left, and I think that's exactly what Santander was demanding. So what do we got? I think we'll do a 3-year and no options or anything. Actually, we might have to do a player option just to bump up because he doesn't like our coaching staff and he doesn't like our team quality. So he's already kind of down on Colorado. So we'll do a 3-year, $25 million deal with a player option. And that leaves us with just not even $1 million in budget, which is kind of concerning. But we kind of covered our bases here. And who knows? I mean, we might get some guys declining. And we still have to re-sign Brendan Rodgers. So we're going to have to, like I said, I think German Marquez is someone we might trade. So I think we'll have to trade him to clear up some cap. So once we'll sim ahead a little bit. And once we see what happens, we might have to trade Marquez. And we don't expect too much in return for him. He's 2-3 years away from his last good season, coming off an injury and coming off a season where he didn't perform well. So I think a team who just needs to fill like their 5th starting spot, I think they would take a chance on him. And I don't expect even like a B-level prospect, maybe like a C-type guy, just to get Marquez off the books. So for now, we'll sim ahead and we'll see if we get any signings. And we reached our maximum roster size, so we have to release a few guys. All right, so we just made some modifications, had to release a bunch of low-level players. But we do sign Anthony Santander, and I'm surprised he signed after the first day. Obviously, he was showing a little distaste with the sentiment of coming to Colorado, but we do get him, and I think he's going to be a very good staple in our lineup. Like I said, very good power and on base the past few seasons, and I'm very excited. I think he's a very good get, and not too much money. Was it $25 million over 3 years with the player option? So I like that get from Santander. And something awful with how we just got that notification. Now we have to go back and re-offer everybody. A very bad glitch here in the show. All right, so we're now all good to go. I had to go back and resubmit, what is this, like 10 offers here, 8 to 10 offers. And we'll just do a little checkup here after the first day. We're still leading for Alonso. The Royals have emerged for Corbin Burnes. They're offering about $2 million less per year, so we still lead for the bidding of Burnes. We're still up on Jansen, although the Athletics have emerged, but they trail Oakland. Walker Buehler, we're still up. No one else offering him, nor Flaherty. Lucas Sims, we still lead for, along with Ferguson and Estevez. And I want to go back here on this Flaherty contract. I'm going to keep it at 4 years, $40 million, but I want to backload it. I want to give him a little less in the beginning to give us a little more flexibility now. And I think at that point, towards the end of his contract, he's obviously going to be performing at a higher level, you would think, as he's set for some good progression at the A potential. Did I do a club option though? I might have left that out this time. And backloaded. So now we're good on him. And the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm I'm kind of indecisive on Corbin Burnes. Is he someone we should really kind of throw all our eggs into at this point, or should we lease him out and kind of, because if we do go for Burnes, we'll have no flexibility otherwise. And I don't think next year will be very restricted as well. So I think I'll leave it just for now on Burnes. Although I'm kind of nervous. I don't know if this is a good move because at B potential 89 overall, we might still see regression from this point on. And I don't think that's a contract I really want to get locked into. So I'm very indifferent now on Burnes. And I'm starting to think maybe we should just kind of get in on Max Fried. He's only getting offered $11 million, so we could maybe jump in there at 12 or 13, which would be $5 million less than what we're offering for Burnes right now. Going down the list, really no one else. John Means wouldn't be bad as like a stopgap, but I would only want him for like maybe a year or two, and Baltimore's willing to give him a 3-year deal. So I don't know. I think maybe we'll just sim ahead a little bit, and we'll see how it plays out with Burnes. We'll sim one more day here to this Saturday. And we'll go back and revisit. Nothing's changed at all for Alonso, Burnes, Jansen, Buehler. Everything's still the same. Did we get any signings? So we did sign Jack Flaherty. So he's someone I think to start will be maybe a number 3, probably a number 4 type guy in the rotation. But I expect big growth from him. I love the home runs per 9 at 76. And you need that if you're going to come pitch in Colorado. So someone who will keep it in the ballpark. Decent strikeout stuff, decent hits per 9, but the walks per 9 is a big concern, although very good control, and the clutch improving there at +3. In his career, 47-45 over 842 innings, and a career 3.88 ERA, although the worst of it has been these last 3 years. The whip also very high, at least 1.5 the last 3 seasons, but we're hoping he can return to like late 2019, 2021 type form. So we get Flaherty a initial boost here to our rotation. We'll sim ahead a little bit more and see what happens with Corbin Burnes. So we'll sim through the weekend and check back up. And that's the thing here in the show, your negotiations can change in just one day. So it's super important that you keep kind of checking. I think we got Estevez signed. So Santander, Flaherty, and now Carlos Estevez, someone to come in and bolster our bullpen. He returns to Colorado. And we'll sim to like Wednesday. And Pete Alonso is a Colorado Rocky. So we get our cleanup hitter and someone we hope can hit 40 home runs over the next 3 seasons. He does have that player option. So maybe it's only going to be 2 years with the Rockies. But we're very happy to get that boost to the lineup. And we'll sim one more day. And let's see what's going on with Burnes. We still lead for Burnes. Walker Buehler, still no other offers. We still have him at $8 million. And so we actually did sign Nolan Jones to that contract, the 4-year deal, backloaded with the player option. So we do have Jones for at least 3 more seasons, and we expect some good growth. I think that's a very team-friendly deal. And once it's over, if he does live up to expectations, we'll be more than willing to give him a nice payday. Danny Jansen also signed, so we're hitting on all our free agent acquisitions. Danny Jansen, power kind of down, but still yet to eclipse 20 home runs, but I think he does that here in Colorado, and I hope with the glove he continues to improve, as he's not far from being an average, above average to good defensive catcher with a decent arm as well. Has a bunch of quirks here, performs better in the 9th inning or later, so someone who's going to be clutch for us, hopefully a good breaking ball hitter and a good first pitch hitter as well. So Lucas Sims also signs. We get him on that 1-year, $3.2 million deal. So far it's just Burnes, Buehler, and Ferguson. And now we have about $4 million projected in available budget, but we do still have to re-sign Brendan Rodgers, although Ahmad Rosario and Garrett Hampson still without offers. Those are the next 2 guys we're going to pay attention to. And Corbin Burnes, still none of the big pitching dominoes have fallen, as top 5 pretty much on the market still. Let's see anything with Fried. So the Dodgers are getting in on Max Fried, but still they're even lowballing him more than maybe not lowballing him more, but he has less interest in the Dodgers. Still no one else on Bieber. I don't know if we should just pull out of this Burnes bidding and maybe go for Fried at a cheaper deal, but we'll just stick with it for now and see what happens. We'll just sim through Saturday into Sunday, and let's see. Did we get any more signings? So Caleb Ferguson also signed, so we get another addition to the bullpen. So Estevez, Ferguson, and Sims are going to upgrade our bullpen very well and go along with the pieces we already have. Flaherty and Buehler still on the market, so we're still waiting for these last two pitchers. And Baltimore now out on Burnes. St. Louis emerges, but all these teams offering substantially less than we are. And I guess we're just going to still ride with it. We'll sim to Wednesday. Clay Holmes, another notable free agent. He goes to the Los Angeles Angels. And 40-man rosters must be set by today. And we're pretty much set, although I think I'd like to get Chris McMahon here added. Only a 64 overall, but I mean, compared to the rest of our pitching in the organization, better than most. Just a 3-pitch mix, good velocity, good Ks per 9. So a good strikeout pitcher, but the walks and the home runs need to get better. But a very good season, and at 26 years old, I think he's kind of earned it at this point. Now we'll keep it moving here and sim to Saturday. And today's the last day to offer salary arbitration, and we pretty much offered... Oh, no, so we have to figure out Brendan Rodgers now. And I think we are just going to end up having to just give him 1 year. We don't really have much... See, that's what I'm saying with Burnes. Like, even bringing back Rodgers is kind of a hurdle because we still want to sign Garrett Hampson here or maybe Rosario. So I don't know if it's a waste right now to kind of go for an ace when we're not really in a position where we need one. I think maybe at this point it might be better to just hold off until next year, and maybe if there's an ace on the market at that point. And I think as you go on in these off seasons, the free agent market kind of gets better. But I don't know. What do we do? This is such a tough hurdle. I'd really be interested to see what you guys would do in this situation. Would you go for the ace, or would you just kind of try and bridge it one more year knowing you're not really a playoff team quite yet and maybe save that cap space? Although I did say we do want to trade German Marquez, but even taking on Burnes with contracts like we have Antonio Senzatella here, $10 million over the next 3 years. We have Kyle Freeland here, who's going to be making 12, then nearly 14, and then 15 and a half. So that's something we have to consider for the future. So, overlapping his contract with Burnes may not be the wisest move. So the more I think about it, the more I'm out on Corbin Burnes, unfortunately. I know it might be great. It would really boost our team, but I don't know if it really makes financial sense at this point. But we'll just sim ahead one more. Oh, no, we have to get Brendan Rodgers underway. So despite what happens, I think we just have to give him a 1-year deal, and we'll go up all the way up to $5 million. We'll go all the way up to $5 million. So that means we definitely have to trade German Marquez in this episode, in this offseason. So Brendan Rodgers not taken care of. We can sim past arbitration, and we'll go back to it. And still nothing on the Burnes front. And at this point, we still could go back and negotiate with Rodgers long term if we miss out here on Burnes. And still no one in on Walker Buehler. Max Fried still the Braves leading the way. And Juan Soto, the Mets getting in on the action, although the Yankees still the Yankees still lead by a good bit. The Dodgers also in there. I saw before the Orioles were also getting in on it. I don't even know if I want to sim ahead. I think I might just want to pull out of the Burnes race, and we're going to do it. No, we'll sim ahead. I can't believe how indecisive I am right now. It's actually hilarious. The White Sox offer us a trade. We're not worried about this right now. We'll just sim ahead to the 27th, my mother's birthday. No movement still on Burnes or Fried or Bieber. None of these pitchers are signing yet. All right, so we'll just make a pact. If Burnes is not signed by December, we're pulling out. We're going to say, sorry, Corbin, you took too long. He's still not signed. The Red Sox getting in on the action. Walker Buehler here getting some momentum from the Marlins. Still not enough. So we're going to pull out from the Corbin Burnes race. I'm sorry if that was anticlimactic for y'all, but I hope my reasoning kind of makes sense, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from. So now that gives... I think maybe for Fried, though. I think Fried makes more sense. A 4-year player option. What were the Cardinals offering? 46. We'll go all the way up to like 52 with the player option. Like I said, I wanted to get the lefty in here. I love the home runs per 9. Good stamina, good command. And very good stuff with the 90 velocity, 88 break. And we're saving like 4 or 5 million, so I feel a lot better. We'll just make it 55.5. I feel a lot better about that, actually. All right, let's keep it moving here. Hopefully you got some enjoyment out of my indecision. That was brutal. All right, now we'll sim past the tender contracts period. And we'll actually revisit the free agent market. You kind of find some gems at this point sometimes. And it's kind of weird. The Orioles pulled out of the Corbin Burnes race, even though they were in it initially. We still lead for Max Fried. Now Tampa Bay emerging. And Cleveland out completely on Bieber. It's now Tampa Bay, San Diego, Philly. We still lead for Walker Buehler by a good bit. Wade Miley actually had a tremendous year here with the Brewers. 2.8 ERA, 1.02 whip, but probably his last season at 38 years old. Here's Dakota Hudson, who we're not bringing back, or Austin Gomer. And Chris Rodriguez, 76 overall, 26 years old. A 5-pitch mix with a sinker. And he looks like a pretty decent pitcher. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like a bunch of decent, like middle-aged pitchers at this point who maybe haven't gotten a chance yet. We do have like a lot of starting pitchers now in the organization, so we'll try and focus on bringing in some depth relievers. Still Scott Alexander available. Joe Kelly, maybe his last year. People's favorite, of course. And really nothing else. Michael Lorenzen. He had a decent year with the Rangers, although they missed the postseason. And actually, Ryan Baruchi here. Very good hits per 9. A lefty, a deep potential, but I like the 68 overall. We need some lefty depth. And look at his stuff. 92 velocity, 88 break, 81 clutch. Good control, but the home run's a weakness. But did get +5 in that department. 52 2/3 with the Pirates. Very strong showing from him. Back-to-back good seasons. I'm not sure why he's not really getting any interest. I think we'll just give him a 1-year offer. Depth at 1 point. I don't know. Actually, if we had more flexibility, I'd feel better about it. We'll revisit him. Kenyon Middleton, 12 1/3 with the Cardinals, but very good. He's had a pretty good past couple seasons. We'll revisit him as well. Andrew Vasquez. Chapman's on the market. And that's really it as far as relievers go. Yeah, we'll just keep moving it along here. What about catchers? Who's left on the catcher's market? Jose Trevino. He actually had a really good year with the Yankees in a reserve role. 447 slugging, 12 homers. He must have just really been hitting against lefties last season. Carson Kelly. Joey Bart. That's an interesting one. We already brought in... he didn't even play last year. Wasn't he a #1 overall pick or... close to it? Good power versus lefties, but strong arm and good power versus lefties. That's really all he brings to the table. Do like the B potential though, and he is progressing. He only once like in the high 100,000s. I don't know. Someone to revisit if he doesn't get snatched up. Luis Torrens, he's decent at a C potential, but a little bit older, and he's not good in the field. I could scan through these low overall free agents all day and try and find some diamonds in the rough, but I won't bore you with that. I'll kind of look on my own once we get through these initial. Harold Ramirez, he batted over 300 the past 3 seasons. I think he was just short of being the AL batting champion, AL batting champion last year. The Dodgers trying to bring him in. Gerald Walsh. Decent power for a lefty, although the slugging at 286 was awful. And all right, I'll just keep simming along here. I do want to offer Garrett Hampson, though. It's really between Garrett Hampson and Rosario is starting to garner some interest now. So this is something we might have to jump on. Hampson's faster, 73 fielding. Oh, he's much better in the field. Although Rosario does bring the better contact, mostly. I think we'll just offer Hampson a 1-year deal, get him back to Colorado. 3.5. I think that's fair for a platoon player. So now we have 3 offers going on. And we'll just send him all the way to Saturday. Oh, wow. And Hampson, he signs with the Giants. Now the Diamondbacks are offering us a trade. We're not trading Amador, our top prospect. So I think that's going to force us now to get in on Ahmad Rosario. A 1 year, we'll give him $3 million and see if we can get him in. Still leading for Fried and Buehler. We might even be able to bump this Buehler offer down a little bit. We'll just go down to 7.2. Give us a little more leeway. Although we are trading Marquez. Maybe we'll just trade Marquez here at the baseball winter meetings. And there's Corbin Burnes. So our offer probably would have gotten it done, but I don't think I would have felt too great about it, as I explained. So Burnes actually ends up with the Royals, and they were like a 500 baseball team. So they're on the come up, and it certainly makes them more sense for them to bring in an ace than it does for us. So the starting pitcher domino, the first one falls, and now Max Fried, Bieber, and Walker Buehler. And the Giants are kind of getting up there, so we might have to up this back to we'll do 7.7 now. This has been an interesting free agency. We kind of got a bunch of easy signings, but the starting pitching here with Buehler and the draft lottery. Wow. So I think we have the 5th best odds. We had the 6th, and we end up with the 6th. So no shakeup here. We have the 6th overall pick. The Tigers and White Sox 1 and 2. And then the Nationals, Mets, and Athletics will pick before us. So we had the 3rd pick last year, and now we'll have the 6th pick. Oh, no, I thought that was the results, so it's going to simulate them now. I am shot. Let's go. Let's get number 1. Let's get the number 1 pick here to Colorado. And we actually fall. So the Pirates jump us. They go up to number 5. And the White Sox, they jump division rival Detroit. So it'll be Chicago, Detroit, Oakland. The Mets stay at 4. The Pirates go up from 8 to 5. And the Nationals fall 3, and we fall 1. So we go down from 6 to 7. Not the draft lottery we wanted. And speaking of drafts, we actually have the draft, Rule 5 draft upcoming here. And Walker Buehler, he actually goes to the Phillies. Wow, I didn't expect to miss out on him. We led the whole way. No one was on Buehler at all. And then we get snagged there. And now we're going to go to the Rule 5 draft. We pick number 8. And there's a lot, usually in this first year of a franchise, there's a ton of Rule 5 picks. And yeah, already 6 out of the first 7 go off the board. Pretty much all pitchers, although John Rhodes here, this right fielder, he gets selected to the Athletics. Mike Vasile to the Tigers, I guess out of the Mets organization. Will Warren to the White Sox. Chase McDermott to the Nationals. Dennis Santana, a relief pitcher, to the Mets. Let's check it out. Clayton Kershaw. Why is he in the Rule 5 draft? An 86 overall. That is just makes no sense whatsoever. Chirinos, Devin Smeltzer, 2 decent pitchers who probably shouldn't be in the Rule 5. I really hope someone takes Antonio Senzatella. Take him off our hands, please, somebody. Joe Barlow, a very good relief pitcher, a B potential. See, I honestly don't even want to take advantage of some of these players who are out here. And you come away with some good players. I mean, usually you can find a diamond in the rough, but it's just overload there, especially among the relief pitchers and starting pitchers. But interesting here, Kevin Newman spent a year in the minors. Someone else who probably shouldn't be in the Rule 5 draft, but very good against lefties, and I love the versatility. Kind of fits the mold of what I wanted, being a decent utility man versus lefties off the bench. I actually really like Newman, but I think for the most part here, we're just going to wait until next year before we make any Rule 5 picks. Nate Eaton here is a very good utility man. Above average in the field, very strong arm with great speed. But we're going to hold off. And David Fletcher here, a very good fielding shortstop, utility guy. Jeremiah Jackson, he's a good prospect at short. Same here with Jeter Downs. Yeah, I think we're just going to forgo our pick this year. Just let the computer do their thing. And this system will kind of work itself out within the next couple seasons or so. Ty Madden to the Marlins. Christian Robinson to the Padres. And I'm surprised. I thought more players would go, but I'm kind of happy it just stayed pat as it was. All right, so we're going to get into the home stretch here this offseason. I know this episode may have dragged along a little bit, but, it's all necessary. It's all part of the process. And I hope, you viewers put the same amount of thought, and I hope you're as studious with it. It's all a big process, and I find it so much fun. And we also just made some more contract offers here. Andrew Vasquez, a 31-year-old lefty, 67 overall deep potential. Just kind of think of him as like a spring training invite, someone who can hopefully add a little more bullpen depth. Along with him, Trey Wingenter. He too, like Vasquez, spent the season in the minors, and we'll give him an invite as well and see if he can work his way up back to the big leagues. Keibert Rodriguez, a young third baseman here, can play all the infield positions along with right field. A good fielder, decent speed for a third baseman, although he won't offer much as a hitter. But 53 at-bats here with the Rangers, batted just over 208, and we'll give him a spring invite as well. Same here with Julio Pablo Martinez, someone who is a highly touted prospect with the Rangers. Kind of didn't really make it there. Then with the Braves this year, went 2 for 22, batted .091. So good fielder, decent speed as well as an outfielder. We like the left-handed bat, and we'll see if he can kind of get his career back on the right track here with the Rockies and see if he can eke out a roster spot. Probably not, but maybe he works his way back up through AAA. Although 29 years old, who knows how much he has left in the tank. Leonardo Rivas, a utility shortstop here, very good speed at 85. Very good fielder all around there, just under 80. Not going to provide much with his bat, but we like that he's a switch hitter and someone to provide a little more depth, and maybe he gets a call-up here at some point. So we're still leading here for Max Fried, and I really wasn't prepared missing out for Walker Buehler. I kind of considered him a done deal, and now if we miss out on Fried, I'm not really sure what we're going to do. We're probably going to have to end up trading for a starter. So we'll skim ahead a little more, and then we may up the offer on Max Fried. Andrew Vasquez signs elsewhere. I didn't expect that either. So Fried, the Braves, I think, offered him a little bit more. And I think we'll up it a little bit. And we're going to front load it. So we're at 55.5. We'll go up to 58. And then that's kind of where we're going to top out. But like I said, if we miss out on him, I'm not really sure what we're going to do. So that gives us a little more breathing room. Teoscar Hernandez signs with the Mets, and we get Max Fried. We up it a little bit, and Max Fried is now a member of the Colorado Rockies. We have him for at least 3 seasons, and then he has an option to opt out. And at that point, I don't think we would be too upset, as he would be 35 years old. So our rotation for next season will be Fried, probably Quantrill number 2, then Flaherty, Marquez, and Kyle Freeland. Lambert we expect to be a long relief pitcher. Senzatella, Dollander, Feltner, they'll all be up in spring training, although I don't really expect any of them to crack a spot. Ferguson, Sims were new additions, and then Curtis will be in the bullpen. Taj Bradley will compete. Gilbreth likely has a spot as our second lefty, and Jake Bird, he's going to compete for a spot after a very impressive showing last year. Carlos Estevez comes back after a season with the Angels, and then he was traded, and really like what he's put together. And if Justin Lawrence here doesn't keep up with, like I mentioned earlier, 17 out of 18 in save attempts. If he doesn't keep that success going, I think Estevez might be someone we look at to take over. 31 out of 35 last year with the Angels, and he was an all-star. We brought Danny Jansen in as the catcher. Jason DeLay and Drew Romo will be the backups, or they'll compete in the spring for the backup spot. I wouldn't mind if Romo opened up in AAA just to get a little more maturation with the bat. Here's Michael Toglia. He spent the entire season in the big leagues. Actually, he had 141 at-bats the year prior and then 141 exactly this past season. Improved his average by about 60 points, along with OBP improved along with slugging, but still not quite ready for the big leagues. We'll open him up at AAA now that we have more options on the big league team. Brendan Rodgers, of course, will be our second baseman, and Ahmad Rosario, who we actually signed for $3 million, just a one-year deal, will be a platoon guy. We really like his contact, especially against lefties. Wish he was a little bit better in the field, but we also do really like that 88 speed, and he's has good vision and good clutch ratings as well. Ryan McMahon, we still have him for 3 more years on a backloaded contract. He'll be making 14 in his last year at 33 years old. Hoping he can get the power back on track. Otherwise, a very stout defender at the hot corner, although we don't really like him in the lineup against lefties. Both of those ratings sub 50. Zico Tovar will be set for his 3rd season at shortstop, and we expect a big growth as a hitter. Hopefully we can get him up to 20 home runs and over 250 batting average. Saw very good improvement against lefties contact-wise, and then good power improvements as well. We kind of have a logjammed here at left field. So Nolan Jones, Santander, and Chris Bryant will all be on the team. Obviously, we just signed Santander for a nice 3-year deal and a player option. Brenton Doyle will likely be the everyday center fielder, but we'll try and mix in other guys off the bench, such as Bouchard, Tapia, who I think both of those guys will be on the roster, but it's not done deals. I would assume Tapia is more of a done deal at this point, but they are going to compete, and we're not really solidifying any of these players, along with Yanquiel Fernandez, our number 2 prospect in their organization. Had a good showing last year in just under 100 at-bats. He's going to compete, although we figure he will open up in AAA. So that was just a quick overview of the roster, and that we're pretty much through this episode. And Juan Soto, he's still undecided, really the last big piece here. Also Tanner Scott, Torres, Bieber. But Soto, Padres, it's looking like he might go back to the Padres. They're actually offering him less than the Yankees and substantially less than the Yankees, but he still prefers San Diego. And we'll just simulate the rest of the way here until Soto signs, and then we'll probably just call it a day. Tanner Scott goes to Arizona, 6-year, $63 million deal, so we'll be facing him a lot in this series. And we miss out on Vasquez, and then we miss out on Wingenter, 2 guys I thought would be nice depth additions to the bullpen. Gleyber Torres to the Royals, so they get Corbin Burnes and now Torres. So the Royals looking like a very good team, and they're certainly going to compete there in the AL Central. The Tigers and the White Sox they were the bottom 2 teams in the league, so it's really the Royals who are coming out strong in that division right now. Good trajectory going forward. We're now in January. Happy New Year. We're in 2025. And obviously, going back about the German Marquez, so we also missed out on Julio Pablo Martinez, a few guys we were hoping would be nice depth additions and come in spring training and compete. So Juan Soto is still unsigned, and along with JD Martinez, Duvall, Merrifield, Hicks, all these guys over 35 years old. Max Scherzer unsigned. Gio Urshela down here. 33. I guess he's kind of at the tail end. Tim Anderson's still unsigned. What would he be demanding? Yeah, over $2 million. We're not doing that. Enrique Hernandez. Some decent pieces still out there. Maybe we'll find someone to invite into spring training in place of Martinez. And we need a couple more relievers to add some depth. Maybe we'll make some trades. I'm not sure quite yet. But for now, we'll just keep simming along until Soto signs, and then probably call it an episode. He's going into February now, still unsigned, as we're about to simulate arbitration. And they sided with Quantrill. He'll be making 6.6. Gilbreth will be making $960,000. And Soto goes back to San Diego, signing a 6-year, $123 million deal. He only gets about $20 million per year. I can't believe he didn't get more than that. That's pretty remarkable. And we'll just simulate these last couple arbitration. Bird gets 1.2. Brendan Rodgers gets the 5 that we offered. Next offseason, we'll probably try and lock him up long term. Feltner, he gets 1.1. He gets favored. And Lawrence gets 1.5. Lambert gets 1.8. He gets the side of the panel. And Curtis, he gets 1.0 on the dot. And that's going to do it here. We still have to sign a few more players, which I'll probably just do after the episode, seeing as how we're probably like an hour and a half into this. Obviously, the off-season episodes take a little bit longer, as there are a few waivers players here. Ryan Yarbrough, maybe we'll just pick him up. He was decent last year. Got traded from Tampa Bay, though. Bruce Zimmerman. I don't know. I don't think we're going to do anything crazy quite yet. But, yeah, like I said, it was a longer episode. The off seasons typically are going to be that way. I put a lot of thought and I'm very studious, as I said, in these decisions. So we already did a little roster recap. I'll just kind of scroll down here as we close. And this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out with this Colorado Rockies Rebuild franchise. I had a ton of fun here in our first offseason. Kind of didn't go exactly how I expected, but I think we made a lot of solid moves, and I really like our foundation moving forward. This is kind of a building year towards this upcoming season, obviously, where I think hopefully we'll be around a 500 baseball team. maybe a little bit under that in year 2, but going into year 3, I think this next season will be a nice box spring to jump into year 3, where I expect us to be more legit contenders at that point. So as always, everybody, it's been real, and be well. Thank you so much for tuning in to this Colorado Rockies Rebuild franchise offseason number 1, and I'll see you next time.